Bills Mafia. Are you ready? From North Carolina to Buffalo, the Mafia is united. This is your home for the passion, the power, and the pride of the Buffalo Bills. Welcome to Bills Mafia Carolina Takeover.
Welcome back to another episode. Appreciate hanging in there. Thank you to all of you that have commented. Man, I got a lot of awesome comments on my YouTube videos there and pages. Really neat to get other fans involved in this year. So super excited. And man, we are in the start of the season. We are preseason. Training camp has begun and started. And we are just over a month away from making this thing really count. And you know what that means for Bills Mafia? That means we are going to get into Mafia Mail. We have our first Mafia Mail this episode. I'm so cool about that. The first one of 2026. Really excited to get into that. And we also have the Other Sideline. It's coming back, and we've got the preseason edition of the Other Sideline. And I've got a special guest coming in to kick off 2026. That's right, Dave from Fins Nation, season ticket holder, lives here in North Carolina, flies down every year. He was on last year, and he's graciously accepted our invitation to have him come back and kick off the Other Sideline, the preseason edition this year. Great to have him on there. Let's talk about the kind of first part of training camp and the big storyline coming out of training camp so far right now is Josh Allen and the Bills offense looks as expected to look. Dynamite, maybe the right word, but chemistry is there. It looks like DJ Moore is what we expect DJ Moore to be with Josh Allen. Now, obviously in shorts, not pads. I mean, that's, the obvious thing here. But so far out of camp, it looks like the Bills offense is humming right now. And it's going to be interesting to see going into preseason. It's interesting to look at that wide receiver battle. I had mentioned a few weeks ago, I thought Skylar Bell would take that spot over Keon Coleman, but Keon Coleman has had a great camp so far. So he may prove me wrong on that piece. So it's going to be interesting to see. I know there's going to be a joint practice coming up here. And so I don't know how much that's really going to show us a lot about the offense, but Josh Allen is heating up in preseason form. Also, love the fact that Joe Brady switched it up a little bit with the pads. Very interesting that the pads come on for portion of the practice, pads come off at the other portion. So interesting dynamic. We talked a little bit about this a few weeks ago. Like things are going to look a lot different on Joe Brady's kind of training camp process. James Cook looks dynamic. I know I sold him on 1,200 yards this year. I'm still selling that, but he does look good, and so we'll see where that process takes us. Look, the other thing I'm looking at here during training camp is the pass rush. Man, this has been talked about all season long regarding the pass rush, what the 3-4 defense is going to look like. And boy, the pass rush looks very, very good. Something Bills fans have not seen in a while. We've been begging for it with the addition of Vaughn and Joey Bosa, but they look explosive. The defensive front and Chubb so far has played out exactly how we want him to play out. Now, again, this is shorts and T-shirts, but certainly Chubb has really shown the missing piece for the Bills that they've experimented with Vaughn and Bosa. We may have hit here. And so it's going to be interesting to see kind of how this evolves. And we'll get into talking with Dave about Chubb and what type of difference we're going to see from him and what type of player he is. So I'm interested to hear there. I had mentioned all camp that this was the Bills' best defense since Josh Allen has gotten here. And I still believe that the defense is the best defense. CJ Gardner, still my top free agent signing, although the way that Bradley Chubb looks, that could change. But CJ Gardner, certainly his start of camp, he's streaming, and then you're thinking to yourself, man, is this going to be old off the field CJ Gardner? And there was a little bit of that, certainly. But, I love Brady came out and he's kind of played the part of, hey, look, I let the guys be the guys. There's rules we put in there. There's no issues going forward. And there really hasn't. Deion Dawkins has stepped off there as well. Linebackers is one thing I have not talked about all kind of off season. So I have not been paying attention, and I have not focused on the linebacker, but basically through the couple days here, weeks worth of camp, or the rookie 4th round draft pick, he has been outstanding. Part of that has to do with the fact that he's getting some reps on the field with Bernard and Williams hurt. Now, those guys are working their way back, so it'd be interesting to see what Brady does there. And then also, obviously Jim Leonard, what he does. But look, Orr is explosive from all the video and tape that I looked at. He flew under my radar, but he can actually be a huge impact to the Bills. Now, mind you, this is a different defense than we're used to with Sean McDermott. So it's a 3-4. So you got to have a lot of athletic guys, but he is really, really proven, really showcased himself. Big time tackler, instincts. He positions himself on the defense. So I'm really excited to take a look at that. But really overall, for the first kind of week and a half, it looks like the offense is humming. Offense is always hummed in training camp. So I don't know how much, stock you put into that, but I think really the biggest aspect of the training camp, and we talked about it, is the defense. The defense has done really well. They have put a lot of pressure on, and just the pressure blitz packages that we're seeing there just has really, really morphed into something that every Bills fan should be super excited about. So I want to hear what your thoughts are. Leave a comment. Tell me what you think about training camp coming up and what that's been like. Love to hear from you guys. You can also email me at billsmafiacto@gmail.com or head over to our website, billsmafia.riverside.com, and subscribe to the newsletter and leave a comment there. All the episodes will be up as well. But right now it's time, and we're welcoming back Mafia Mail. Let's get it.
The family has spoken. It's time for Mafia Mail. Your questions, your takes, your voice, right here on Bills Mafia Carolina Takeover. Let's go.
All right. Hey, we got a new intro for this year. Stepping it up, all because of you guys subscribing. Got a new platforms, got new shelving, new lighting behind me, and now a Mafia Mail, new Mafia Mail intro. I love it. So here we go. Let's get into it. This is from, let me pull my email here. This is from Mike from Charlotte, North Carolina. Thanks, Mike, for reaching out. And you have made it to the Mafia Mail first time this year. So let's see what you had to do. Hey, Owen, first off, excited the show is back for another season. I've been listening since last year and really enjoyed hearing the Bills fans' perspective from outside of Western New York. I've got a question for the Mafia Mail. Do you think the Bills still rely too much on Josh Allen to win games? Or do you think this year's team is finally balanced enough that they can win even when he doesn't have to be Superman? It feels like every year we say the offense is more balanced, but when the game is on the line, it always seems like Josh has to put the cape on. Love to hear your thoughts on whether this team is built differently this season and if the defense can carry its share of the load. Thanks, and go Bills. Mike from Charlotte, North Carolina. Thanks, Mike, for reaching out. Love this question to start off the year. I talked about this a couple episodes ago. Yes, this is, I believe that Josh Allen does not have to be Superman this year, and it's starting to show a little bit on training camp, but I think that this is the best overall roster that Josh Allen has had since he's gotten into the league in with the Bills. And that's not from the offensive side of the things. It's from the defensive side. This is the best defense the Bills have had in 9 years. So yes, Mike, I do believe that Josh Allen does not have to play hero ball, Superman, or put the cape on. I think the Bills defense is dramatically different than McDermott's previous defense, and they're ultimately going to win games for the Bills. They are going to shut down teams, and Josh isn't going to have to do heroic things in the last 7 minutes of a game. And in some cases, it's going to be a blowout. I think that the defense is that good this year, and Jim Leonard and the pieces that are in there. So yes, I do believe that Josh Allen, for the first time in his career in 9 years, does not have to play Superman, and the defense is going to carry us to maybe the promised land. We'll see. Well, I appreciate your question, Mike from Charlotte. If you got a question for the Mafia Mail, go ahead and send that in at billsmafia@cto I'm sorry, billsmafiacto@gmail.com. That's the Mafia Mail. Hit me up, and your mail might. If you got a question for the Mafia Mail, go ahead and do that at billsmafiacto@gmail.com, and I will read yours on the air. Thanks so much.
That's a wrap on Mafia Mail. The family's spoken, but the table's never closed. Got a question? Email billsmafiacto@gmail.com and we'll save you a seat at the next sit-down. Go Bills!
All right, great question by Mike from Charlotte. Appreciate that. And looking forward to that segment. It's going to be a good one, especially if I'm predicting the defense to be as good as they are. It's going to be awesome. Hey, now let's get into the other sideline, the preseason version. Let's do this.
All right, Mafia, it's time for the other sideline, where we bring in fans from the teams the Bills are facing this week. We get their perspective, their passion, and maybe even a little trash talk. So buckle up, because it's not just Bills Mafia in the house. It's game week, and the spotlight's on both sidelines. Let's go, Bills!
All right, guys, welcome back to the other sideline. The first one of the new year. Super excited. And the gentleman that you see on your screen here, if you tuned in last year, that is Dave, who is going to start off this year. Dave is from the Carolinas, and he is a season ticket holder. I'm assuming still a season ticket holder to the Dolphins, and flies down to Miami to watch the Dolphins. And he's graciously enough accepted the invite to hop into the first year of the other sideline. Dave, welcome back, man.
Good to be here. Thank you for the intro.
Yeah, great to have you. Great to have you. But before we start off, and interested to dive in a little bit of the Dolphins, for those of you that tuned in last year, Dave is a huge Sabres fan, which is ironic. Got a few emails about that, but so there is a common interest there. But I had to get your quick take on the Sabres run.
Dude, I mean, it was so much fun. It started with that Tampa Bay Lightning game where they went back and forth, and from that point on, it was like one of the best seasons I can remember since probably the last playoff run, or like the 2006-ish season, right? They were in the Eastern Conference Finals. Such a great team.
Yeah.
They should have won that Game 7. They should have moved on against Montreal. They should have been playing in Carolina. I would have been at every single game.
Yeah.
It was just, man, I was just hoping we got to Carolina and we kicked their butts. But just excited about the future. We finally have something in place, it feels like. And we'll see what Jarmo can put together with some of the boys. And hopefully we can keep that momentum going this year. I'm excited.
Yeah, it was awesome. I'd mentioned, for those of you that watched, like the first episode this year kind of bled a little bit later than I anticipated just because of the run of the Sabres. So yeah, it was fun. It's been a while since you and I both experienced that as Sabres fans going into the season. And it just felt like it made the NFL season come a little bit faster. So yeah, really exciting time. I would have been with you there in Carolina for sure, but it looks bright. So hopefully, season's right around the corner for that as well. And so hopefully that will turn out to be good there.
I'm excited. Yeah, I can't wait.
All right. Well, you also got to be excited too, right? Miami, they got a new era in Miami. Kind of made some changes. Mike Daniels. So kind of what's your first impression of kind of the new coaching staff and everything that's happened on?
Look, man, I'm optimistic. You've got a fresh staff, right? You've got no Chris Greer for the first time in about 2 decades. Fresh everything. They just actually got rid of their VP, not got rid of him, but today, Tom Garfinkel got moved over to the F1 and just kind of the Miami Stadium side and brought in Stillman, who apparently was the guy behind bringing Troy Aikman in and starting this whole run to pull in John Eric Sullivan, the new GM, and then Jeff Halfley. And I like what they're saying, right? We haven't seen anything on the field. We just put pads on the last 2 days, but what they're saying and communicating to the fan base, and with the signings they made with re-signing Achane and Brewer, just the core pieces of the team, and the draft looks phenomenal. I mean, some of these players are looking like they're going to step in and probably start early on, especially as slim as this roster is. They're going to have to make an impact, right? So there's a lot of optimism on my side. And then I'm on X quite a bit, with the Dolphins X on there on Twitter, and same kind of sentiment, right? Like we're ready for a fresh start. I personally really like McDaniels, but we talked about it last year. He wasn't growing, right? Like you'd like to see, all right, the first year he comes in, he's like just hits it hard. Second year, even better. And then there's just kind of this progression of the offense is getting any better. The team started to figure out what he was doing. You have guys like Hill and Waddle, and Tua can't get the ball to him. So now talk about a fresh start. You go from one of the best wide receiver cores, arguably the top two, to Tua Atwell and Jalen Tolbert and Malik Washington. And rumors are, and I haven't seen enough. I haven't watched the camp videos, but apparently Atwell isn't doing great so far. So he's already on the bubble apparently, but we'll see. That's all just rumor mill right now. And until we get to see some of these guys in gameplay, we'll see, man. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited for you guys. Like, I thought, and we talked about it, I thought Mike McDaniels was an interesting hire for sure. But yeah, so, I think it's always good. It's always uneasy, right? Bills fans went through it with Sean McDermott, shocked. But, as time goes on and, things change and you get a new sense of kind of a new way of things going, I think it helps out. And I want to hit on the wide receiver thing first, but I wanted to, because this is interesting to me here, I wanted to talk about Malik Willis for a second here. So, obviously we've seen Tua, good games, bad games against the Bills, but $67.5 million contract, 3 years, and $45 million guaranteed, fully guaranteed, for someone who, has played handful of games for each of the team he's been on.
Serviceable backup, right? With the Packers. Yeah.
So what is from your opinion, like what is the, is this a bridge guy? It's a lot of money. Me personally, 45 million is a lot, but is this a realistic starter for you guys, or is this kind of like a bridge, get through the next couple of years and see what happens?
I think it's a lot like the coach and the GM. We need to see him play. He was serviceable last year. He went in and filled in for Jordan Love very nicely. Halfley and Sullivan, obviously they know more about him than anybody. So like just being in that franchise with the Packers always seem to raise good quarterbacks. So I'm excited about that. I don't know. Look, he gives us some hope, right? Like we had Tua for the last, 4 or 5 years starting, and not very mobile, obviously. And then the last 2 years, every time he ran out of the pocket, you get scared. Like, is he going to have another concussion? Or are we going to lose our quarterback for the season? So you got Willis now. He can run. He can throw. He's going to be an interesting player, especially with Achane back there. Just the different looks. Now, he's got to get some weapons around him. We'll see if Caleb Douglas can kind of step in and hopefully be a decent receiver. We've got Chris Bell, rookie that looks like he could be something once he gets healthy. I just think it's going to be, it's hard to call him a bridge and it's hard to call him a starter until we see what he puts on tape, because we've only got, four or so games. Now you talk about guaranteed money. This organization just shelled out money to Tyreek, Jalen Ramsey, and Tua, and all these players that Jalen Waddle are no longer with them. So we got $100 million cap hit just with Tua alone right now. Gave him $200 million guaranteed, 225, whatever that number was. So I'm not too worried about that, especially for a potential starting quarterback. I think it's a value, and he could work out really well. What's the downside, right? So the downside is he doesn't work out well. We get a quarterback. He bridges the gap for the next few years, or we've got a starter for the next decade. I think it's worth the risk.
Quarterbacks is one of those positions for me, like, in the 17-year drought where, and I understand where you're coming from as far as like, let's figure it out kind of a thing. I get it. But you go back and look at teams, even the Bills, when they didn't have Josh Allen, like they tried it. They had bridge quarterbacks, and it just sets you back 3-4 years each year, so that's the one thing that I think when it comes to quarterback, like 1-year bridge gap deal. Like, hey, we'll get you on a 1-year deal, see what it takes. But the commitment there for a 4-year deal, is it 4-year? The commitment there for a 3-year deal. If things don't work out, Dave, then that could be 2, maybe even 3-year setback. So interesting to see there. I mean, I don't know the market, nor am I deep into Fins Nation to see what else was out there for you guys. But does he bring, like, I know obviously Tua can run around, but do you guys feel like that this guy brings you more of a dynamic 1-2 that Tua used to have back in the day, that maybe they liked him for that?
That's it. Yeah. I mean, one, he can extend a play, which we haven't had with Tua for, again, the last 5 years. Also, like, Tua's just been sliding on the ground the second somebody gets a foot away from him, so it's like, and I get it. That's what he was coached. Like, don't take any big hits, just get down. So I think he's a high risk, high reward guy, and he's got all the intangibles. He's got the skill set. The coaches know him. The GM knows him. So to me, it's there's a lot of potential there, and you get to find out. And to your point, I mean, you never know if a guy's going to work out, right? We could tank and get Arch Manning, and he could just not be good. You don't know. So it's like, give this guy a shot. Let's see what we got. The GM and the coach are fully behind him. I mean, it's his team. It's his job. So it sounds like, that's where we're headed. And I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic every year. I always think we've got a shot to, hey, we can at least crawl into the playoffs and see if we can be the Giants in 09, and take down the 17-0 Patriots. But I like it. There wasn't, what else was out there when you think about quarterbacks and who you could sign and then their draft position, because they always end up in that middle of the pack. They didn't have enough cap space to go and get anybody like well known on free agency, but who was even available, like Kirk Cousins, what are you going to get out there? So I think it's the best we could do in a bad situation, eating that much of a salary cap from Tua.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. The best you could do, with salary cap. You had mentioned Waddle and Tyreek. Finally, those guys, were reckless when we played them. What Malik Willis, really first year, run the ball kind of thing, hand it off in the backfield. Like, what's that all looking like as far as wide receiver and passing game?
That's what it feels like. There's been a lot of talk too of Greg Dulcich, the tight end, looking good. I know he's dealing with a couple nagging injuries, small stuff, but when he was on the field. So think of that West Coast, just tight, 10, 15 yards. I don't think anybody's stretching the field in this offense. I mean, maybe we'll get lucky with that, but I think it's control the ball, don't make mistakes, and hopefully the defense can keep us in games. I think this isn't the offense of the Mike McDaniel era. Like, that's just not going to be the reality of it. And the coaches are talking like, we're going to be a tough football team. We're going to run the ball. We got to win in cold weather. We can't just be run and gun and playing in warm weather and be a good team. We've got to be able to win in the cold, So they keep on saying the Packers of the South, right? Like, that's what this team is building towards. And, based on what they drafted and the guys that they re-signed, it does feel like that's where we're headed with it, So I like where they're going with it. I mean, I don't like that we don't have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. I mean, who wouldn't not want to have those guys? But
yeah, right.
It's one guy got injured, and then you trade another guy, and you got Caleb Douglas, who the heck knows? I mean, he's got all the intangibles of a great wide receiver. So
yeah, no, it's interesting, and it's going to be an interesting season. Like, I'm really interested just to kind of see like how the first couple games go and what that looks like. And I mean, I might be surprised by Willis. Like, he may be, like they always say, you just gotta, somebody's just gotta give, be in a different position, be in a different spot. They may have been not really that great here, but you get him into, Miami's situation there, and then all of a sudden, there's a Miami Dolphins team that is going to compete for the East. I wanted to, because I know our listeners want to know, tell us a little about Chubb. Well, Bradley Chubb. So the past couple weeks, I have talked about how this is the best roster that Josh Allen has ever had, not because of the offense, but because of the defense. And part of that is the experiment that Brandon Beane has been doing with Von Miller and then Joey Bosa. And now he went to Bradley Chubb, which is obviously, I think, an upgrade. So tell a little bit about Bills Mafia. Like, what can we expect from Chubb? Is he, is he going to be able to be impact? Like, what are we looking at?
Yeah, I think, like you said, definitely an upgrade over Bosa, in my opinion. When he's on the field, he's fantastic. I mean, such a hardworking player, and was always great to the other team, to the teammates that you could tell, right? Always lift the people up, coaching on the sidelines. You're kind of over there and you're seeing him, bringing people up on when they needed it, but just often injured. You don't know if you're going to get him for a full game. You don't know if he's going to be out for a couple weeks here or there. We missed him for half the season in 23 when we were making that run. So it's like, is he going to stay healthy and be in the game? That's the biggest thing with Chubb, and that's been his thing his whole career. But man, he can wreck a game, and the guy doesn't stop. That motor doesn't end. So I think you got a great player there. I was actually looking at this something on Instagram or X. It was like Bills roster versus Dolphins roster, and apparently they do these for all the rosters. And I forgot Chubb went to the Bills. I was like, we got to play him here. Like, they were just comparing like every player, and the potential depth chart, starting lineups, and yeah, going Bills versus the Dolphins wasn't fun because they were like Achan and Brewer and Jordan Brooks. That's about it. And the Bills roster were green the rest of the way. But you got a great player in Chubb. There's no doubt about it. He's a game rocker.
Yeah, I'm excited about him. Like when this year, like a couple episodes in, maybe the second episode, I had thought C.J. Gardner would be the free agent signing of the year for the Bills. I think he's going to be lights out. I mean, that's a completely different dynamic than we have seen in the Bills. But as weeks went on and training camps and stuff, I've kind of leaned more towards Bradley Chubb. I mean, just from what I'm hearing out of camp at St. John Fisher, just like an explosive wrecker, and really someone the Bills have been talking about really since 13 seconds against Kansas City, and just have not found that. So that's good. Bills Mafia is going to be excited to hear that. Season, what is Finn's season expectation here?
Man, cautiously optimistic, right? Like, could we get on a little bit of a run? Could we get lucky? I think Vegas has them at like 4.5 win-losses, so I see them more probably a 7 wins. I mean, okay. I think we're going to hit there. I don't think we're going to be the worst team in the league. We're going to end up somewhere top 10 probably. Unless, again, this team just shows up and is somehow lights out. You just don't know what this rookie class is going to do. And if Willis does become call him top 10 quarterback, which we don't know what we have there yet. I mean, pretty much every team rises and dies with their quarterback play. So the rosters is thin when you look at it. A lot of no names, but everyone starts at a no name, right?
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I'm looking forward to this year. I'm looking forward to go down there and see the games. And last year was a bit of a struggle towards the end because it was like, man, there just wasn't much to be excited about, and that could happen again this year. But nonetheless, I'm looking forward to kicking off the season and just seeing what happens on the field. We can predict and we can put everything we want, and what we think is going to happen, but never happens that way,
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Injuries and,
exactly.
what the heck goes down, bad call here and there. I mean, these games are so damn tight most of the time, even with bad teams. It's like, which team figures out a way not to lose, is like almost always the winner, and that's how the good teams come out. They just 1 or 2 plays and it goes their way, and that's the league right now. So you get lucky, you never know. Just got to get in that playoffs, man.
That's it. That's all. You just got to get to the dance. So
that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. The excitement, certainly I can feel the excitement from Finn's fans on X and Instagram and all that. And you guys should be. I mean, anytime there's a really upshift and a change, and, it gives you hope. And we're kind of feeling that on the defensive side with Sean going. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's always interesting in the AFC East, I think, Dave, and you probably agree with this. Like, before the season starts, it's always like even the Jets, they could be good this year. But then, towards you get like October, Halloween, November, it really kind of separates itself from, the AFC East.
It plays out pretty quickly. You get a good feel by, like you said, mid-October where the teams are going to be, assuming nothing major happens injury-wise, but yeah, absolutely. So let me ask you, Bills Mafia and McDermott versus Brady. I mean, how you feeling about that? I mean, it's a big change for you guys.
Yeah. It's, so when it happened, shocked, for obvious reasons, stunned, couldn't believe it, upset, really upset because, he came in and really revolutionized the Bills, like, right? So nervous, like what the hell is going to go on? Well, the other part too is like when McDermott got fired, I was like, shit, now like they're going to hire somebody. Joe's going to be gone. Josh, although he can, Josh is future Hall of Famer, like he could get paired up with any offensive coordinator and probably be fine. But then when they hired Brady, I was really okay. Yeah, I was okay. Like I felt like, man, that offense is going to just be the same as it was last year. And really the difference in the teams, I think, is that it wasn't about the offense. It was about the defense. And then we got Leonard and then reading up on Leonard and obviously a former Bill, like completely different style defenses. So I was like, hey, you know what? This is good. Like to your point, like, start something good, start something new. We've, went down this 8-year process and never got to where we needed to be. We have one of the greatest quarterbacks, I believe, to play the game. Not as good as Brady for you Pats fans, but still one of the greatest. And, at some point you gotta make it there. And so, yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited just for the whole atmosphere and all that.
The East is fun, man. The East, especially if the Jets figure out a way to get out of their hole. I mean, you got the Patriots, obviously, the Bills, and who knows, man? They're always on the verge of being, or the East is always on the verge of being the best division, but it's always one of the teams pulling us down,
Yeah, I mean, people could argue that the AFC East might be one of the best divisions in the league prior to the start of the season. I mean, I think I shouldn't, you may think different, but I think, the Bills are probably the favorite in the East. I don't think any, maybe a Pats fan may not agree with that, but I mean, it's hard not to put Josh Allen on top there. But, when you look at like paper and all that, I mean, yeah, Dolphins for sure. Patriots, for sure. And then, then there's the Jets, but they're going through kind of like their own thing as well. So, yeah. I mean, it could come down to those 4 teams. I don't think it's going to be there, but yeah, every year I think it's one of the tougher divisions on paper for sure.
Yeah. It sucks having to be in it and play each of these teams twice. You want to be in the Saints and the Buccaneers, and you sneak in being 8 and 9, and you make it to a playoffs.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right. That's the problem with the East. You're, with Kansas City, you're going to get, again, I'm not trying to be biased here, but I mean, the Bills are going to be 1 through 3 seed if everything works out. So, that doesn't leave a whole lot of room for, the rest of the AFC East. So it's tough. It's going to be tough. Before you go here, do you think the Bills are, you could say Miami too, but do you think the Bills would be the AFC East on top right now when we're shooting this in August? Or you think the Bills would be the top of the AFC East, or do you think it's the Super Bowl Pats?
Look, the Pats were the winner last year, so I until you can unseat them, I mean, you got to give it to the Pats. They added A.J. Brown. I like Vrabel. I was not happy that they got Vrabel. He's such a good coach, and for Tennessee to let him go, I think any team with Vrabel has a good chance to be a playoff team, and they're just a disciplined team. They're such a better team just with him, and they've made some really good offseason additions. They're going to be a tough team. They've got that identity back. They've got that swagger back. Obviously, the Bills could go and be undefeated this year. I mean, Josh Allen I would put him talent-wise as the best quarterback to ever be in the NFL. I mean, just because what he can do with his legs, right? And he's an impossible person to bring down. He keeps every play alive. And it's just, if that defense can hold from them, so Josh Allen doesn't have to put up 5 touchdowns a game, I mean, how are you going to beat the Bills? So, but I'm going to give it to the Pats. I don't want to. I don't like the Pats. Can't stand the Pats. You know, they're my least liked team, and my fiance's a Pats fan, so it's
that
tough.
is true.
You know,
That is true.
it's a tough.
That is
it's a
very
tough
fun.
household in the NFL season, but you know, I think I do. Obviously, I think the Bills could be there, but I'm going to say the Pats right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, you know, you got to go. Obviously, you're going into the season with New England being on top there. It's going to be interesting to me, and we're gonna have Jesse from Pats Nation on here in a couple weeks to talk about the Pats. So just interested to see what, you know, I believe the Pats overachieved there last year. I don't think any reasonable NFL fan would not agree with that, but so it's going to be interesting to see what this year looks like for them and all those pieces. So yeah, it's going to be wild. It's going to be fun, and it's going to be here before we know it, Dave.
Yes, sir. I can't wait.
Yes, sir. Well, hey, Dave, I appreciate you dropping in for the first one of the year, and we will definitely have you back on for Dolphins Week. Fins fans out there, you got a charity, right? Tell me a little bit more about that charity.
Yeah, we work with Freedom Ride Rescue here in Raleigh, North Carolina. They foster dogs. They do a great job with it. You know, we fostered over 25 puppies at this point with them over the last 4 or 5 years, and they're a great organization. They're nonprofit, and they do a really good job of making sure the dogs go to the right homes, and the support for the fosters are great. So always like to give a shout out to them. We've actually got an event with them on Sunday coming up. Can't remember where it is now. I should have had that, but look them up. They're a great organization, and they have events like every week in the Raleigh area. So you can always find them somewhere.
Yeah, that's awesome. So hit them up there, and yeah, man, it was great to see you again. Good luck to the Dolphins, and we will touch base later on this year.
Sounds good. We'll see where we're sitting. All right, man. Thanks for having me on. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Want to thank Dave from Fins Nation for coming in to the other sideline to kicking off this new year. Appreciate it. A lot of good insight there, and we will definitely have him back on the show. But that is going to be it for this week's episode. And as always, if you need to reach out, you can do that at billsmafiacto.riverside.com. That's the website. Sign up for the newsletter. All of our episodes are uploaded there. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell on all the platforms. We are on all the platforms now. And if you need to get in touch with me, billsmafiacto@gmail.com if you want to get in on the Mafia Mail. And as always, be good, do good, God bless, and go Bills.
That's a wrap on today's episode of Bills Mafia Carolina Takeover. Thanks for tuning in and repping the Mafia with us. Don't forget to subscribe, drop your Mafia Mail, and join us next time as we bring the passion, the pride, and the power of the Buffalo Bills straight from the Carolinas. Let's go Buffalo.